They might not be into headlocks and body scissor takeovers and sunset flips and backflips. Instead, they might be into hitting you with a weed whacker, and they want to call themselves a pro wrestler, but they want to hit you with a weed whacker for $10 and a 6-pack of beer. Dude, did you know you can subscribe to onlywrestlers.com and keep in touch with your favorite wrestlers? The party never has to end.
One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Rob, we talked about the spike to the back spot last week, which was Monday. So I guess it was this week. Never mind. We talked about it on Monday.
A couple days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago. And it got a lot of interesting comments on social media. First off, I do want to say I put out some quotes out there. And when I do that, it's in hopes of the dirt sheets linking back to our show so people will tune in and watch or, subscribe or do whatever, get some traction. You help out the wrestling media. You're supposed to help you back. Well, there's a site or there's a social media account called Wrestle Purists, and they're not very pure because they do not credit you back. And I know there's a couple of people there that work there. Ibu, I know you. I know what you're up to.
Is he related to Sabu?
Not related to Sabu, because Sabu is generous. This guy does not seem generous, and he knows what he's doing.
Damn, Ibu.
Yeah, so I'm calling you out right now. You start citing and you start linking back to things.
Do they say on RVD's podcast, he said blah, blah, blah?
They said one of a kind with RVD, but they don't put a link. They didn't tag us. They didn't do anything. So all they're getting all the engagement, and it's not going to us.
Oh, I see that quite a bit. When I see us mentioned, it's usually that.
It's usually just straight up the word, and thoughtful in a way, but not thoughtful enough, I don't think. But anywho, so I screenshotted a couple of these quotes that some fans had. And I was getting kind of mad reading some of these, but I also knew the right answer to these two. So I'll pop them up and then get your perspective, Rob. Let me go to the right page here before I do. All right, here we go. I'm going to start with this one here. Meanwhile, this is the promotion he's always going to be associated with. And so if you guys are listening on the podcast form, there's old images of Sabu with like the chair. Some flaming chairs, Bubba Ray powerbombing Spike through a flaming table, Terry Funk flaming Cactus Jack, I think it is. And then this other one, what is this one here?
Who's the he that he refers to?
You. That you're associated with, because you talked about how you weren't a fan of Jon Moxley in the Spike.
Oh.
So he's like, meanwhile, this is the promotion that he's always going to be associated with.
Gotcha.
And I think I know what you would probably say to something like that, but here, no, this is a positive one. We'll wait for that one. Okay, this is a funny one. This is a standard Republican take. Let me break down the examples. We can insult
I've never
people.
been accused of being a Republican before.
I know. We can insult people, but once we are insulted, it's not the same. It's too much. ECW talent. AEW is too violent. Also ECW. Let me throw you off a ceiling to 20 tables, shaking my head. Then we have this one. This is hilarious for when you hear from everyone that RVD always prefers to hit and kick at full force. Like, I'm sure taking gimmick spikes to the back isn't good for your health, but neither is taking legit roundhouse kicks to the face from Rob Van Dam. So, there's a few negative comments. Let's see if this one was it too. No, this guy's defending me, I think so. I will wait to take that one. We'll wait to read that. What do you think of those comments, and what kind of response would you have to that, Rob?
Well, probably predictably, if you've ever heard me talk about it, me and Sabu called those matches garbage matches, and we just didn't respect them even in ECW. I have never even been in a barbed wire match. The only one I ran out to one of Sabu's, him and Terry Funk, that legendary one. But we always, like, New Jack would have a garbage can, several garbage cans actually by the door, and the fans would bring weapons, and they would grab them at the door and fill them in the shopping cart or garbage cans for New Jack to look through and choose which ones he wants to bring out to the ring. And that was his whole gimmick. The music would hit for the gangsters. and then they would come out and boom, would throw in the trash can or whatever, and 2x4s, spatulas, rubber chicken, all kinds of silly stuff. Nintendo, whatever would be in there, and they would use that and boom, hit the guy over the head, and they would dance and shake their ass and do whatever and hit him again. And for for me, that was never my favorite, my preferred style, or what I really believed in. I mean, Sheik wouldn't have, if I would have tried like dancing and bringing a toaster into the ring, I think Sheik would have just cut my forehead open, and said, "Get out, don't ever come back." That was just that. What are you doing? Are you trying to beat him, or are you trying to dance? But obviously, I got taught like one way, and then the gangsters, they had a bunch. What were they called? They were called the gangsters.
Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
So they were great. They anyway, they had like a lot of fans, and everyone had their own part of the show, but what I was taught was that the wrestlers that do that, especially when they don't know how to include wrestling in it, they use that instead of wrestling because they don't wrestle. And I always thought back then they don't know how to wrestle, which isn't always the case. But either way, they use that to replace wrestling instead of using that to add like an extreme moment or level upon the match to make it even more extreme. And then you have the match, the foundation of the match. In my case, a good match. I would have a kick-ass RVD athletic match. And then, if we, boom, go through a table or something, it's because the table's right there at ringside. The ring bell timekeeper, he's sitting right there. Nowadays, when they load it all up with gimmicks that would never be anywhere near a ring, like doors and big sheets of glass and stuff, it's obviously just for the gimmick, and then it totally replaces wrestling. And that's why I say I hate the style of two guys just grabbing each other's neck on top of a pickup truck, looking over, and then they like both jump over and smash through everything. That's the furthest thing from wrestling to me. Who did a wrestling move to who? What happened? How were they? I mean, but it is faker than it's ever been now because people got into it that weren't trained by old school legends like myself, and they've made it way different. Their mindset is so different that they can dance in the middle of a match and do silly stuff. And because during the interview afterwards, they're going to be telling the fans everything they had planned and how they went over the match beforehand, it doesn't fucking matter anyway. And that's where their mind is. That's not the mindset that we were at ever.
Yeah. And I also think too, people are saying like, oh, look at all this stuff that happened in ECW and like all the different risks that people would take there too. I can't remember.
We said that. I said the same thing about ECW back then too, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
We were stapling each other or whatever. I was like, that's not my shit.
Well, here, and that's what another person said too in this kind of defending you and saying that I'm seeing comments saying Rob Van Dam should know better. He was in ECW. Funny because I don't recall RVD taking spike bumps, stapler shots to the head, going through flaming tables, etc. That stuff was for less talented wrestlers who needed to use that to get over or slash a reaction.
Well, that's exactly how I saw it,
Yeah.
And that really is how it is now. You know what's funny? Not funny. I don't think that's the right word. Something that stuck out in my mind, though, because a couple of days ago, the news broke, like, damn, another wrestler died, like, in the ring, because one just died a few days ago in the ring. Mm-hmm. And this is not about those specific wrestlers, but I just thought, like, in general, how many people out there are the kind of people that I watch on Instagram that are having a ring made of light bulbs and they set each other on fire and then smashing through everything. And then how many of those guys call themselves wrestlers, and how many of those guys die and then makes it seem even worse than it really is, because I don't consider those guys wrestlers.
I mean, you look at a lot of those people that use and mess with the light tubes and stuff like that. There's like those deathmatch wrestlers that almost bleed out. A
lot of those guys, from my opinion, just from what I see, which is limited, but I see a lot of the what do you call them? Like clips, I guess,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
not whole matches. God, I wouldn't want to watch a whole match, but what I see lacks wrestling completely.
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Sometimes the referee's even in on it. Like the guy will put gas all over a guy and gorilla press him. And then the referee like lights him on fire. And then the guy like throws him and the guy doesn't, the fire doesn't go out and he's rolling around. I usually retweet those because it's just a reminder, that like everyone thinks it looks so easy. They say don't try it at home, and people get hurt because they're not trained professionally. They're out there playing or whatever the reason is that they're doing it. I'm sure they're not making a lot of money at it. They're doing it to show that they can slice their skin up and then bleed on and still do a couple of fake moves with the other guy's help. That's what they're out to prove. So it's another level. It's a whole nother level.
It is. It really is. And it's like, no, and the Mox back or spike to the back spot too. We talked about it on Monday, was that like he could have got paralyzed from that whole spot. Like, and you saw the results of it, like Wheeler Yuta trying to pull it out of his back. It was just so gruesome and just, you never did any of that crap in ECW. It just didn't happen. So,
in my whole career, how many times I got, let's call it requested color?
Yeah.
Twice.
Really?
Yeah. Every other time was hard way. I busted myself open so many times. There's so many photos of me bloody throughout my career. That's not because before the match, I thought, what'd be cool? I'm going to slice myself open and then make it even better. And that'll be cool. No, that was hard way shit. That was me working, busting myself open every time except for two. Both were post ECW, post 2001 WWE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy. See, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even know. Like, that's pretty neat.
That ain't my shit.
Yeah.
I always hated it when balls would come up to me before the match. Is it okay with you if I bleed tonight? No, motherfucker. Why do you gotta bleed every fucking match? I mean, if it happens, it happens. Why do you gotta what do you get out of that? What doesn't make the match better? No. I've always felt that way personally. And I know not everyone agrees with my opinion, which is fine. It's subjective. Some people love that shit. Some people love what they love about wrestling. They capture in their photo when every wrestler, when their promo photo, when they go, that tells me everything I need to know about them.
Right.
They want to tap into their crazy and they want to intimidate you because they're so nutty and that's who they are. That's why they're in the ring. Right?
Man.
What else could it mean? What else does that mean?
You should have done one promo photo like that, Rob.
Yeah. That's how I see it, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They think they look tough or scary or crazy, I guess.
Right.
And that's why they're doing what they do. So guess what? They might not be into headlocks and body scissor takeovers and sunset flips and backflips. Instead, they might be into hitting you with a weed whacker, and they want to call themselves a pro wrestler, but they want to hit you with a weed whacker for $10 and a 6-pack of beer.
That's it. A hot dog and a handshake. I just opened a new Turtle Beach headset, the Stealth 700. And man, I did a little pre-opening beforehand because I'm a klutz. And my cat is also a klutz because during a live recording once with RVD, this was a couple weeks ago when we had Mike Kyoto on, he actually knocked over my Xbox. And it's up about 4 feet high. So it face planted. I thought it was dead. But thankfully, the Xbox is pretty sturdy and it wasn't. And now I get to use this headset here. Bear with me. Maybe some editing here happening. All right. Ooh, man. Yeah, that cancels everything out. Very comfortable on my head. And I can just only imagine what the audio quality is going to be like. I feel like a fighter pilot. I feel like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. But whatever you play, you can engage. and chat, talk some trash. I usually don't talk trash because I'm horrible and I always lose at Fortnite. So, but what you can do too is use promo code RVD. Use the link and use promo code RVD to get 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com. And you can feel good about your gaming experience. This is already elevating it. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to plug this in and try it out. And I'll give a further review in a later video. But go to turtlebeach.com, use promo code RVD, and get 10% off your order. All right, guys. See you later. Happy gaming. And yes, let's go Bucks. Have better sex with BlueChew. BlueChew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, BlueChew is offering a combo so strong it'll knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. Bam! You'll have to move towns with the amount of noise you'll be making. BlueChew Max has arrived. It combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable tablet. This combo acts fast and lasts. Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of BlueChew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. BlueChew tablets are made in the US of A and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of BlueChew free when you use promo code RVD. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code RVD. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank BlueChew for sponsoring the podcast.